Happy Cinco de Mayo. It's May 5th. And yesterday was May 4th. May the 4th be with you. And today is May the 5th of whatever you're drinking be with you. So it's a little early for margaritas. I'm going to wait for that until later. But I was just trying to think of things to make me smile. Memories of past trips usually do it. And I'm going to tell you a story about my trip to my first time to Europe with my friend. I went with Nikki in 1977, and we were in Pamplona, Spain, for the running of the bulls. And we got there on a Saturday, and I think we had a hard time cashing travelers. It was something where the banks were closed or something we couldn't, and we just had very little money and didn't have a place to stay that night. And you know, if you've ever been to Pamplona, everybody's in the white outfits with the red sashes, and they you know, they just party all night long. So we ended up staying up all night, and then we found some white clothes and a couple of those sashes, and proceeded to find this. They have these little stalls with, you know, big jugs of wine, and they just fill up a bottle for you. And so we were drinking this pretty awful wine, but you know, we just stayed up all night and had a blast. And the next day we were a little drug out. Our clothes looked a little worse for wear, but we were still on our feet, and we were walking down the street, and pretty hungry too. Tienes mucho hambre, or tengo mucho hambre. And this very elegant gentleman was walking towards us as we were walking the other way, and he, I don't know, just kind of wanted to chat us up or see what we were doing. And he saw the bottle of wine we had, and he was like, "Oh, my dears, you know, that's very bad wine. You don't want to drink that." And he said, "I am going to a special party. You should come with me. I'll show you Spanish wine and good food, and you must come. Let me show you." And he was older and looked very nice, and I could just see people seemed to know him. And so Nikki handed the wine to this guy that was laying on the sidewalk, and he kind of raised his head and took a little sip, and then he went spit it out. And the gentleman, I can't remember his name, I think it was like Rodrigo or something like that. And he said, "See, even he will not drink it." So we said, okay. So we went into this lovely hotel, and everybody was being very differential to this guy. And he walks over to these big giant doors, and somebody opens the doors, and there's this huge hall inside with all these similarly dressed gentlemen, and they were just having a big party in there, and they were bringing in platters of food and wine, and our eyes are bugging out at this point. We're like, holy crap, look at this. And we're the only two ladies in there, but it felt safe, and there were people coming in and out. And Nikki, you know, I figured she's been to Europe before, she knows what's happening. So I just am, you know, like some country bumpkin, but I'm like, wow, this is quite a original, amazing thing that we fell into. So we're sitting there at this long table. There's maybe like 50 people sitting at this table. It just went on for days, and people are kind of noticing us there. And you know, we met some people that we were sitting around, and we're eating and drinking and having a wonderful time, and kind of wondering, you know, I guess it's just a Pamplona party. But one guy jumped up on the table, and he had this big napkin, and he was snapping it and dancing around and doing all these cool moves. And then somebody else jumped up on the table, and everybody was yelling "Ole!" and everything. And all of a sudden I realized these are bullfighters, like retired bullfighters, and they come to Pamplona every year, and everybody knows who they are. They're sort of like, you know, royalty. And here we are at this party. We just fell into this party, and so it was really cool. And I was thinking how lucky we were, and to just have this wonderful experience. And then, you know, as time went by, people were getting kind of drunk and raucous, and things started to be thrown. You know, like not food, I guess, but cups and things. And at one point I got, you know, I'm sitting there and I got clocked in the head with something, and I looked down and there's this cup laying there, and I'm seeing stars, and I'm like, what happened? And I look down the street, down the table, and there's this older gentleman waving like, I did that, hello. And I'm thinking, oh, I don't like the way you say hello. And then I said to Nikki, I think it's time to go, you know, before this gets really too crazy. So we make our goodbyes and we're trying to leave, and these two gentlemen that we were sitting next to kind of took our arms and said, oh, no, 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 you're coming to the bullfight with us. And I said, oh, no, 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 we're not coming to the bullfight. I don't want to go to a bullfight. Oh, yes, you're coming to the bullfight. You know, sort of like, well, you have to be our dates to this bullfight. And I wasn't really keen on going to the bullfight, but we ended up going to the bullfight. And they had these incredible seats, you know, right down, and everybody knew who they were, and, you know. And so we're sitting down there, and I'm just not enjoying this at all. It's really hot, and we haven't really slept much. And then they, you know, all the picadors and stuff, and I'm just thinking, this is cruel, I want out of here. And so we make some excuse, we're gonna go to the bathroom or something, and then we just took off. And the rest of the time we were there, we had to avoid all these bullfighters, and they were everywhere, it seemed like, you know. You'd be doing something like, oh, bullfighter at 2 o'clock, let's go. So anyway, we ended up at a bar that night, and my friend Nikki was just so taken by this voice she heard in the crowd, this Australian voice, and she ended up tracking it down and found Charlie, who became her future husband. And Steve and I were there in Portland, Oregon. He moved up there eventually. So anyway, we ended up going out with this merry band of Australian, it was Jonesy, Charlie, Bob, and Shelley, and Nikki and I. And so Shelley and I, you know, they used to say Sheila, you know, and I thought that was her name at first, but Sheila means a girl. So I was learning Australian too, and had a lot of adventures with them too, but that was a happy memory. And when I was cleaning out my, some cupboards, I found my sash that I bought in Pamplona. It's really faded now. That was what, 47 years ago or some crazy thing like that, 43 years ago. Anyway, I hope you have a wonderful Cinco de Mayo, and enjoy yourself, and be kind to yourself, and enjoy the nice weather. I hope everybody's got the sun that we have today. So happy Cinco de Mayo. I love you. I miss you. And, you know, start thinking about some of your travel stories. It'll make the stay at home, the staycation, go by faster. Okay, bye-bye.